Hello everyone, my name is Sabayomi. Today we'll be looking at how we can build a RESTful API using C#, .NET and Fluent Validation. The purpose of this video is to show you how you can use Fluent Validation. So without wasting much time, let's get right into it. I am inside my YouTube folder. I will make the blogging. Then I'll sit into my blogging folder, open with VS Code, so we can have a clean slate. Let's create a new solution folder by typing .NET new SLN. So this will create a blogging.sln file. Let's create our web API .NET new web API. Then we pass in the flag --use -controllers -o blogging.api. We are saying create this application using the controller-based approach. So this will create. Then if you run .NET, let me clear my screen, .NET build, we should get a warning, unable to find a project. So if I do .NET SLN add every CS project to this project, we should see project added, blogging API, and if I clear, then run .NET build again, build. We should have build succeeded. Cool. The next thing to do is to add a number of packages that we're needing. So let's start with the entity framework called a memory database, because we don't want to use an actual database like MySQL or PostgreSQL or Microsoft SQL Server. So we'll be banking on an in-memory database. So I'll sit inside the blogging app.api, then .NET add package, call it Microsoft entity .NET add package Microsoft entity framework in memory. At the moment, if I open my CS proj, we don't have anything here, but if I click this guy, we should have it somewhere around here installed. So we have our memory package installed here. Then let's create our models. Since we are working with a blog API, I'll call this guy blog. Then we do prop the ID, then prop, let's do topic, this should be a string, then this will be topic, then we'll say string dot empty. Then I'll duplicate this guy. We should have author duplicate again. Let's do content. Then the last one, let's have date. Let's have date time, then created at, then this should be date time dot this now, and lastly we should have a string of URL, or let's call it image URL. Then also this will be string.empty. Cool. Then let's create our connector, our DB context class, the bridge between our app and our database. Then I'll create a new folder called data. Then let's call this guy log DB context, and it will inherit from the DB context. Then we can create our constructor. We call this db context options. Then we pass in our blog db here. Then we do options. Then here from the base options. Then we can create our db set. Db set is just a representation of our table inside our application. So we can do public db set. We call this blog, and the actual name we call blogs. Then we can do our getter and setter, get set. So db set can be used to query and save instances of the blog inside the database. Now let's inject our db context in our program.cs. Let me do a little bit of cleanup here. To builder.services.add db context. Then we call it what's the name again? Blog db context. Then we write options. Then we use a lambda arrow. Then options dot use cap, use in memory database, and the name should be log db. As simple as that. So if you're using SQL Server, you should have db connection string. Yes, but since we're using in memory database, they should work. The next thing is to create our controller. We're not using the repository pattern or the service layer today. We're writing our code in this controllers folder. But I'll be using a code generation tool. If you don't have it installed on your PC, you can just do something like .NET 2 install -global .NET ASP.NET code generator. So if I run this guy, it's saying it's already installed. To scaffold our controller, we do .NET ASP.NET code generator controller -name. Then the name of our controller should be called, let's do blog controller. We do async, create an API. The name of our model is called blog, and the db context is called blog db context. Then the output folder out directory should be called controllers. Okay, I think we have when I had Microsoft Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio Web code generation design. So let's quickly add this guy. I'll copy. I'll do .NET add package, and I'll dump this guy. I think I made something. So let's run the command again. Let's see what we get again. So it's saying to scaffold controllers and views, install Entity Framework packages, and we need this guy again. Let's copy this. So what I'm doing basically is just following the prompt from the terminal. .NET add package, then we dump again. So we added the tools. Run the command again. Let's see if we get a go green this time. Same as you had SQL Server. Again, lastly, .NET add package SQL Server. Then we run this command again. And finally, we have this result. We see added controller, controllers, then blog controller. then attempting to compile the application in memory. So it's attempting to figure out entity framework metadata, blah blah blah, using the blog model. So if I expand my controller, we should see the CRUD operation written out for us. We have the context injected to the constructor here. We are using the annotation called get. Then tax action result, we are returning a list or enumerable of blog. Then we have the get blogs, return await. Let's quickly test our endpoint. I'll run it using the HTTPS. So to run that, you need .NET dev-sats dev-sats https -trust. So if you run this command, you should have successfully trusted the existing HTTPS certificates. Then I'll do clear. Then let's run .NET run, that is launch profile HTTPS. Then if I run this, we should see now listening on HTTPS localhost 7205. Then if I click on this link, then I will append swagger index.html. We should have our API blog here. Then I click on try it out. I'll remove the where are you? Okay, this is the on the get, we're getting empty array. Let's go to create a new blog. Try it out. So let's do test quickly. Test and test. Then we create. We have one test and it returns 201 created. Then if I click on this get all, we should have an array of objects. Cool, it means it's working. Now let's apply Fluent Validation. Now to add the Fluent Validation, we need to add the package. We'll write .NET add package Fluent Validation.ASP.NET Corp. Then we should have it somewhere around. Okay, this is the online 11. The Fluent Validation and version is 11.3.0. A point to note here is that you do your validation on your data transfer object, not on the real entity or the model. So let's create a new folder called DTO. Then we separate the request and a folder called requests. Then we can create a class called blog DTO. Let's call it create blog. Simple as that. Then we want to have this should be inside the model class. So let me create a new model, call it models, and I'll drag this inside the models. Okay, so let's copy this. We want to have these three things on. When you create a new blog, you should have topic, author, and content. So I'll go to my DTO request, create blog, and dump here. Then we want to create a new folder called validation. Validation. Then let's create a new class called blog validator. Blog DTO validator. Clear my screen, and this should inherit from the abstract validator. So inherit from the abstract validator, and it will contain our create blog request. Then we need to write rule set for our properties. If you want some of our properties to be not null, or the max length, the min length. So I'll create a constructor by typing ctor. It's going to be an empty constructor. Then I will write rule for text lambda, start with topic. Then we want to say this should be x.topic. Then we want to say not empty. Then with message topic is required. Let's start with this first. Then we need to inject inside our program.cs. I'll go to my program.cs, and so by typing builder.services.add fluent validation auto validation. Let's bring this guy in using from ASP.NET Core. Then let's start our application again by running that same command. .NET launch profile TPS. Then I'll go to my browser, refresh, go to the post. Let's create a new blog without the topic. Let's see what we will get. As you can see, it's creating because it is not working at the moment. As you can see, we have 801 topic is sending null, but the validation is not working at the moment because we need to instruct our app to use the Fluent validation. So I'll go back to my code, go to my blog. On the create, which is the post, this should take create blog. Let's call this guy create blog, and this should be var new blog, because we want to create a new instance. I want to create a new instance of a blog model. So new blog, close this guy. Then we do let's do topic equals to create blog.topic. Then what else do we have here? DTO, author and content. Okay, click this guy 1, 2, call this author, and this should be content. Then we can pass in a new blog instead of the blog. No, pass in the new blog here. Then commit. Then this should be new blog .id. Then pass in our new blog. Now let's use the validation here. Validation using Fluent Validation. Format my code. Var validator equals to new blog DTO validator. Create a new instance. Then do var results equals to validator. So this blog DTO validator is coming from this folder here. Dot validate. Then what do you want to validate? Do create blog. Then if the result is valid, then we want to negate it. If the result is not valid, then we want to throw return bad request. There are a number of ways that you can return your errors. So the first one is just to write result.errors. Yeah. Then if I run my app again, type clear, run, go back to my browser, Then if I click on execute, we have property topic, error message topic is required. So it's giving us this 400 baud request. Error code not empty validator. At least it should not be empty. But if I pass in my, let me type my topic. I'll do topic. Let's do hey. Then I send. It's working now. Now that is one. If you're just interested in the errors, the error message, not the total error, I'll comment that out and do return bad request, then result dot errors. Then you want to select using this link, select x lambda x dot error message. Then I'll stop my server again, restart, go to my browser, remove this topic, then send. You should have topic is required inside this array. So let's create a custom API response so that we can map the error coming from the Fluent Validator to our custom error. I'll go to my DTO, I'll go to, this should be in the modules. So let's create this guy, new file, call it API response. So it's going to be prop. Let's do status code. Prop. That's what we need here. Should have string message. This guy is going to be string.empty. Then prop. Let's use object, and this is going to be data. Let's pass null here. Then let's create a constructor for it. One more thing, let's do success. Let's do boo success. Then we can create a constructor for it quickly. Setter. So do boo, do int status, common case. Then we do string message, do object, call it data. Then lastly, boo success. Let me make this upper. Then do this dot status code equals to the small status code. Then message equals to message lowercase, and data equals data. Then is success equals is success. Then we hand this guy. Now I'll take my API response, go back to my create new blog. Instead of returning this directly, I'll comment it out again. I'll do return bad request. So I'll do new API response. So the API response will continue what? API response contains int, string, object, and boo. So I'll do a casting here. I'll do HTTP status code dot add request. What do we have again? We have, let me check my API response. We have message data. Message is validation error. Let me break this guy down. Data is this guy, result.error.message. Copy it here. And lastly, we have false. This is new. Okay, so we have return bad request, new API response, it's new status code, bad request, the message, and the actual data, and is successful is false here. So let's start our application again. Then go to our browser. Then if I shoot this guy, we should have 400 validation error, data is this guy, then if success is false. So this is how you can map the error coming from Fluent Validation to your custom API response. So let's just finish up. Let's add the other two. So let's add some other fields like maximum length. Let's do topic should, let's say 20, text an integer, then with message, let's do it max length is 20. Let's copy this. I'll duplicate it 2 more times. For what do we have here again? For auto and content. Okay, I'll call this auto and content. So let's run our app again. I'll remove the content and auto again. Now click. Okay, I'm getting topic is required. Let me change from here. This should be auto is required, and content is required. Restart my app again, go back to the browser. So we have topic is required, auto is required, content is required. Let's check the max length. So I'll Ctrl Z, max length, I'll do more than 20 here. Than 20 just to be sure. Then click on execute. We have max length is 20, max is 20, and topic is required. So this is how you can use the Fluent Validation package on your REST API. I'll leave a link to the blog post that mimics this whole application just for your read. Thank you for watching.